Well, happy Saturday, Falcons fans. This I'm just going to go ahead and be right up front. This is going to be an NSFW video. This is going to be uncomfortable at times. I'm going to say some things I probably would not have said before, and I'm going to be very real with you. First things first, I am going to step on some toes. I'm going to hurt some feelings. Anybody who wants to comment on my video about the state of my teeth can get fucked. Your comments will be deleted immediately. I have some problems where I grind my teeth really bad at night, and that is causing a lot of problems. I am working on, getting a dental plan together and all that. I can fix my teeth, but you'll never get smarter. And you'll never be a better person if you comment with some stupid shit like that. I'm working on this. I've got problems I got to deal with, health issue. I grind my teeth real bad at night. It's causing problems. So if that's your only comment on this video, get fucked right away. Fucking leave. Scroll to something else. I don't give a fuck. Your comments will be deleted, and you're a bullshit fucking human being. All right? So that said, what we've seen... And I'm sorry the background is maybe not as crystal clear as we would like it to be, but this was the best picture that I could find to describe what we've seen go on with the Atlanta Falcons fan base this week and the front office. All right? I'm not going to pull any punches here, so be ready. If you got to drink a little something, if you got to smoke a little something to get emotionally situated for what a white guy is about to tell you about a very black fan base. If it's going to be hard for you to handle, I'm not going to be racist. All right? That's the last thing I want to do. But we got to address some things honestly about what we saw this week with the Atlanta Falcons fan base. Some things we've been seeing for a long time and we haven't wanted to speak about. We got to talk about them now. We've got to talk about them now. So, to start off with, you see the pain in this girl's face, right? And here's Deshaun Watson. We saw this drama play out this week with, let's forget about what the organization may or may not have done to Matt Ryan, how much they may have been upfront about, how much they may not have been upfront about, whether Matt Ryan's going to continue to play for Atlanta or not, whether that bridge has been burned or not. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about and what we still see going on, even though Watson has moved on to the Browns, made it very clear that he wants to be extremely highly paid and moved on to the Browns, even though he's not coming to Atlanta. We're still seeing this and from some major voices. Okay. So first things first, Atlanta Falcons fans, a lack of indictment. A failure to indict does not mean there was no evidence. Let's be very clear. I don't know if y'all been watching too much Divorce Court or Judge Judy and you think the system works like that and Rusty the bailiff is the worst thing you got to worry about in court proceedings. I don't know what leads to this idea that the failure to indict means nothing happened and that he's completely innocent. Okay? That is wrong. It's 100% wrong. Okay, now, the second thing we got to touch on is politics, the politics of it. Of course, one of my favorite things I saw this week was let's keep the politics out of football. Literally last week, it was racist to say that. It was racist to say let's keep the politics out of football just last week. Because you got to make the excuse to allow Colin Kaepernick to do all of his shenanigans. You got to explain that away. That it's okay for Kaepernick. The politics need to be in football for Colin Kaepernick and Michael Bennett and anyone else who's got something major to say about the cause of the day. Right? We've got to leave the politics in football, but now all of a sudden, let's keep the politics out of football. Bruh. How do you make that switch that fast? And of course, there's an argument to be made like, oh yeah, did we strike a nerve with you guys now? You've been saying, let's keep the politics out of football for a long time, and how do you like hearing it? Well, we're not talking about, Tim Tebow praying on the sidelines. Tim Tebow took a knee too. We're not talking about how he was mocked and shamed for simply, exhibiting his worship on national TV. No, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a guy who's got 22 and possibly more accusations against him that were credible enough that they went to a grand jury. So let's also remark on that, because another thing that people have wanted to try to do this week is, oh, look, there's Donald Trump. Look, Donald Trump did something too. Look, there's Donald Trump. Look away from Watson. Look away, people. There's Donald Trump over there. We gotta remember Trump. Okay, so are they seating a grand jury on those accusations against Trump? Did they seat a grand jury on the single 35-year-old accusation against Brett Kavanaugh? Okay, let's be real. The Atlanta Falcons fan base is very Democrat. And we saw a lot of shit go down during the advent of the Me Too movement and Believe Survivors that launched against Brett Kavanaugh and brought back up the old Anita Hill stuff against Clarence Thomas. So it seems that Me Too and Believe Survivors now only counts if it's politics, if it's a Republican, whatever. Because and let's be real, even with Ben Roethlisberger, it seems like sports trumps everything, right? That those things don't matter when it's sports. And that's a terrible thing to look at, but it's also a terrible thing for the number of Falcons who jumped right on, the number of Falcons fans who jumped right on Me Too, who jumped right on Believe Survivors, who are now casually dismissing these accusations against Deshaun Watson, which he is not free and clear of. Let's be very clear. He is not free and clear of those accusations. Okay? There's a lot of people trying to say, oh, he's innocent. There's nothing going to happen, blah, blah, blah. No. He's still facing 22 civil lawsuits with, I've seen as many as 5 more ready to come forward. Okay? He's still facing an NFL individual independent investigation. He is still facing possible retribution from the league on behalf of what they think he may or may not have done, on top of the fact that if there are as many as 5 more people as I've seen ready to come forward, he may be indicted on new evidence. You never know. Now, I'm not saying it's highly likely he'll be indicted on new evidence. I don't know what anybody's got to bring forward at this point, but it's a possibility. And as I replied to Roddy White this morning, when he took that same stance, like nobody needs to look at what Deshaun Watson has going on off the field now, and they only need to worry about football, the possibility remains that not only would the Atlanta Falcons have sold the farm for this guy and put us in the same position we're in with Matt Ryan, where so many fans complain about Matt Ryan's contract and our inability to sign players due to Matt Ryan's contract, right? We would have been in that same boat with him where he wants even more money, and he is facing a possible suspension from the NFL already. There's no guarantee it will happen. There's no guarantee it won't. In the age of Me Too, I cannot fathom that the National Football League, in the age of Me Too, in the age of Believe Survivors, would just gloss this over and nothing's going to happen to this guy. Now, that's a possibility. But you also have to honestly address the possibility that this guy could be missing a significant amount of playing time. And now you have given up a lot of draft picks and a lot of cap room for this guy who is not playing. That is a real possibility that has to be addressed, because there is real evidence against him for this stuff happening. Because there's another misconception that we got to bust right now. Just because he was not indicted does not mean there is no evidence. The fact that it went to the grand jury at all means there is some evidence. Now, going back to the politics things, we remember when James Comey just kind of casually brushed off Hillary Clinton's bullshit because he didn't think there was enough to get a conviction. He never said she didn't do anything wrong. He said he didn't think there was enough there to get a conviction. So he just kind of let her off the hook. It was not his job, was not his place to just let her off the hook. But she wriggled free, right? That doesn't mean she didn't do anything wrong. Right? Same thing. You can say the same thing about Donald Trump. I don't give a shit. The truth is the truth. I only voted for the guy because your options were Hillary Clinton and the potato we have in office right now. Okay? You give me a better option than that, maybe I do vote Democrat. I'm an intellectual guy. I'm going to think about the issues, okay? But you gave me the choice between Donald Trump in a pantsuit and actual Donald Trump. I took Donald Trump, okay? And I'm not going to go into the gas prices thing. That's a video for another time. But you better believe I got some strong thoughts about the difference between Trump and Biden on gas prices. Y'all better believe that. You better look in your bank accounts and think about how different it would look, how much you're paying at the pump if Trump and his economic policies were still in place, despite him being a horrible orange man who don't know how to keep off of Twitter and keep his damn mouth shut. Okay? But that's something for another time. I digress. We've seen a lot of people who were ready to tar and feather Brett Kavanaugh. I lost friends over it. Falcons fans who were my friends. We got into horrible arguments. We had to stop talking to each other over Brett Kavanaugh. That was one accusation. One accusation from 35 years ago she had no corroborating evidence for. And I get you want it to be believable. You can debate whether what she said she went through was believable or not. But the difference in how you have responded over one allegation from 35 years ago with no corroborating evidence compared to these 22 women who have come forward against Deshaun Watson. And your reaction is, them hoes got fucked for money and now they just want to get paid some more. Or B, your reaction is, the Texans owner is a racist who framed Deshaun Watson. Them bitches were paid to talk about him. Now, those are not my words. Those are direct quotes from shit I have seen on Twitter and on Facebook from Falcons fans. That believe survivor's energy went out the window really quick when you thought you were getting a black quarterback to Atlanta, right? And here's where I start stepping on toes. Because for a long time in Falcons fandom, people who look like me from the Caucasus of Europe have not been able to quite say some of the things we've wanted to say about what we've seen in Falcons fandom. Now, some of you just want Deshaun Watson because you believe in Deshaun Watson. And I respect that. He is not a bad quarterback. Let's be clear. I'm not saying Deshaun Watson's a bad quarterback. I will never say Deshaun Watson's a bad quarterback. He can easily be as good as Matt Ryan. He's got the best of both worlds. He's highly athletic, and he's a great pocket passer. We all know this. We all know what Deshaun Watson could bring to a team on the football field, right? Then, of course, there's another segment of Falcons fandom that they just want a mobile quarterback. They think that the age of the mobile quarterback is coming, which is supposed to have been coming for the last 25 years. I've been hearing this forever, man. Oh, it's the age of the mobile quarterback. And I still see the best quarterbacks in the league being pocket passers. It's supposed to be the age of the mobile quarterback. Now, we can make an argument about, enhanced athleticism. Guys who can get out of trouble a little more easier with their legs than other guys. But it's not like, you know, we're talking about guys who are going to go break rushing records. And let's be honest, when Atlanta is talking about a mobile quarterback, Atlanta's talking about Mike Vick. They're not talking about Aaron Rodgers, who can run around a little bit and extend a play. They're talking about Michael Vick. That's why Cam Newton keeps coming back up, which leads us into some of you just want a quarterback from Atlanta. I respect that. I respect that. We love having Georgia football players come play for the Falcons, Georgia Tech players, even Alabama. We embrace Alabama. Alabama doesn't have an NFL football team, so of course we embrace Alabama, sending players to the National Football League who end up at Atlanta. They may as well be hometown boys, right? I can respect that. And now let's get to the ugly part of it, where you just want a black quarterback. You just want a black quarterback. Their skin color matters more than anything else. Now, there's also two trains of thought on this. Some of you are just shitty human beings. Some of you, though, I can respect this. You want to see yourself reflected. Some people want to see a reflection of themselves and a reflection of the color, the reflection of the culture of Atlanta. Atlanta's a very black city, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, okay? It's black Washington, D.C. It is. There's so much beauty and history and culture in Atlanta, Georgia, right? And that's not a bad thing in any way, shape, form, or fashion. However, prioritizing someone's skin color over everything else, and it's bad enough when it's Matt Ryan and you're prioritizing skin color over performance on the field. You reach a whole nother level when there's the color of their skin matters enough that you don't care about this poor girl you see on the right side of the screen who is suffering and who is in pain, who is crying as she says she's trying to take back control over her life. And as you watch her, it's hard to believe that she's taken control back over her life. Not as in you don't believe what happened to her, but you can still see she is clearly hurt. She is clearly afraid. And even though she's saying the words, it's almost like she's just trying to go through the steps to amp herself back up, to try to make the attempt to take control back over her life. And y'all have said some nasty, nasty things, Atlanta. Now, I'm not saying everyone in Atlanta did. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying every Falcons fan was terrible, but we saw enough of it. And we saw Falcons fans being terrible to other Falcons fans for simply daring to say, hey, we shouldn't just gloss over this. This shouldn't be something that we just say, hey, doesn't matter. And the response has been, that man didn't do nothing wrong, and fuck you for even bringing it up. That's been the response. And that is fucking terrible. And it has shown an even worse side of this fan base than I thought I would ever see. I've seen the assaults against the content creators at the Falcoholic, who did nothing more than stand on their integrity and not apply a double standard. Whereas they took the same stance against Brett Kavanaugh, they took the same stance against other people who have been accused of things like this, and they're applying the same standard to Deshaun Watson now, and you're telling them they're shit for doing so. And I stand with the Falcoholic. I stand with Falcoholic Matt. I stand with DW. I stand with all those people who have principle lead. Even though it may make me look wrong for the stances I've taken in the past, they at least stood on their principles and didn't apply a double standard. That's called integrity. That's called ethics. And you're telling them they're shit because you care more about what this dude could do on the football field than what he may have done to 22, possibly 27 women, than how you even reacted to your friends who said, hey, maybe we need to give Brett Kavanaugh the benefit of the doubt. Maybe we need to go through due process. Maybe people are innocent until they're proven guilty. And you were toxic, and you were terrible, and you were shitty to those people. You unfriended people. You made people unfriend you. And this is where we are. It's one thing for me to sit here and say how disappointed I am in the Falcons front office for how this may or may not affect Matt Ryan and the future of the Atlanta Falcons organization and how other free agents may view us now. Because we've got conflicting reports about whether Matt knew or not and all that shit, man. It's how this plays out, I don't know. But right now, it don't look good. It don't look good right now. But it's a whole nother thing what we've seen from the fan base. We spend a lot of time talking about how terrible the Philadelphia Eagles fan base is. Because they threw urine on Santa Claus. Because they told Warwick Dunn they were glad his mom died. Right? We have put down Saints fans nonstop for all kind of shit. And here we are, the Falcons fan base, telling other people, telling sports reporters, telling content creators, they need to just shut the fuck up about Deshaun Watson. That we need Deshaun Watson here for the culture. Let me tell you something you don't want to hear. Matt Ryan was here for the culture. You want to talk about culture change. Matt Ryan was the culture change. Matt Ryan was a culture change to a culture of success and a culture of accountability and a culture of forthrightness, of players not being arrested all the time, of our players not being on ESPN with domestic violence allegations and kicking puppies and all that shit. And now here's the Falcons fan base getting to the lowest common denominator with prioritizing skin color more than anything, with not giving a shit about what may or may not have happened to these women. And even if you think nothing happened, you could at least have the fortitude to not treat your fellow Falcons fans like they're lower than dirt for being concerned about it. But that's what we've seen. That's how this all played out. Now, if you're still watching, and you're not busy typing up in the comments how much of a racist piece of shit I am for daring to disagree with you or daring to point out the hypocrisy or whatever, then fine. Maybe we can have a conversation in the comments about it. Maybe you can talk to me about it, whatever. But this has shown an ugly light on the Atlanta Falcons fan base. And I just don't know anymore. I was all, we've seen this for a long time. We've seen people say things about Matt Ryan that just weren't true because they wanted Cam Newton here for whatever reason, despite the fact that Cam Newton's never been as good as Matt Ryan. And you can bring it down to those three things I talked about. Some people just love Cam Newton. Some people just love the athleticism. And some people, they're worried about something we're not supposed to talk about they're worried about. But I'm talking about it today. I'm not going to keep on about it. I'm not going to talk about it every day. I'm not going to bring it up all the time. But this one time I am going to say it. And I don't care who gets mad at me. I don't care who gets in their feelings. I don't care. I don't give a fuck how upset you are that I just told you the truth of how ugly it was to see the Atlanta Falcons fan base respond this way. Y'all think when you're telling fellow Falcons fans or Atlanta beat writers or other Atlanta Falcons content creators that they're shitty people for even daring to consider the allegations against Deshaun Watson, to even give them any thought whatsoever, that none of that should matter, what you think about that girl crying on the screen. Because it's real for some people. And I guarantee you what, it's real to the NFL. And any more people coming out talking about Deshaun Watson, it's going to get even realer. And then what happens if the bottom does drop out with this whole Deshaun Watson thing? And you sat there, told other Falcons fans that them hoes was getting fucked and now they want to get paid. And this only happened because the Texans owner is a racist who wanted to frame Deshaun Watson to get him out of Texas. How you going to look then? I'm telling you how you look right now after all that bullshit about Brett Kavanaugh. And you even brought up Clarence Thomas. Clarence Thomas black. I don't know. Maybe he's not because he's a Republican. I don't know how it works. I don't know how it works anymore in the 2020s. But it don't look good. I'm going to tell you that point blank. You can not care that I'm telling you it don't look good. But it don't. And there's NFL agents out there right now. There's other players. There's women's activist groups. There's rape crisis groups. There's all kind of people out there right now looking at Atlanta like this. They're giving us more side eye than I can even give you on camera right now, Atlanta. You think it's funny, but it's not. I got nothing else to say about it. I think I've said what I need to say. I can imagine there's going to be some upset folks about it, but sometimes it's got to be said. Sometimes those ugly conversations have to happen. We're having that conversation right now. I ain't saying Deshaun Watson is guilty. He may not be. But he also may be. And because of that, you can't continue to be so hypocritically dismissive of it. Because all you give a shit about is football, or all you give a shit about is winning, the possibility of winning, or all you give a shit about is having the face of the Atlanta Falcons be a black dude. I don't know what to tell you if you're in one of those categories. But I can tell you this much. I'm not on your side. I'm on the side of the guys at the Falcoholic. I'm on the side of the people who are continuing to bring up that Deshaun Watson is facing 22 civil lawsuits. I'm on their side, not yours. And it ain't a skin color thing. It ain't a politics thing. It's a holy shit, you at least need to have to consider it thing. And you can at least be considerate of people who are considering it. I don't even know if I'm going to call myself a Vanilla Falcon anymore. I don't know how much longer that's going to be. I don't know how many more times I'm going to do a Matt Ryan graphic. Because holy shit, man. Holy shit.